Hello, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Chef Victoria, and I have a cooking school called Culinary Immigration, and I'm going to teach you today how to make two wonderful salsas. The first one is a smoky chipotle. Oh, my husband absolutely loves this. And it is so easy if you have a blender. And I guarantee it's gonna be your go-to hot sauce. You can make it hotter by adding more of the spicy arbol pepper, or you can just take out the arbol if you just are adverse to spiciness. A fire roasted can of tomatoes into the blender. And fire roasted tomatoes are better because they have that little bit of char in there that's going to give it a even more smoky flavor. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. See, we've been soaking our peppers here in some hot water, and you're going to want to let them to get really soft so they're bendable, because we're going to blend them and we want to make sure everything's nice and soft. So anyway, make sure your peppers have been sitting and reserve the liquid because we're going to use that, okay? But I want to show you, there are stems on them, and we're going to want to take that stem off before we put them into our blender here. And then we're going to take some of our liquid from our peppers. We're going to just put that in there too because it's got a lot of flavor. Okay, we're going to add a couple cloves of garlic in there, and also heirloom tomato. Okay, that's all you do. Just stick it in here, turn it on. Now we're tasting to see if we have enough salt and if it's spicy enough, because we can add another arbol. And it has to be blended for at least 1.5 minutes. I think I would like another arbol in there because to me, it needs to be a little spicier. They're very tiny little guys too, so they pack a punch, but they're super tiny. So I'm just gonna throw it in there, even though it's dry, because they break up really easy. So let's blend again. Okay, let's see. I think it's perfect. Okay, so we're done. You're done. So I'll show you. Just pour it into your container. Beautiful salsa. Beautiful. You could use this to put over enchiladas, put it on tacos. It's a wonderful, delicious salsa for you to enjoy. All right, and welcome to my kitchen again. I'm Chef Victoria, and I'm gonna do a fresh salsa for you. It is super simple. You don't need to buy that in the grocery store. You can just make this yourself and you will just be so surprised. You're just gonna need a flavorful heirloom tomato, a lime, onion, red preferable, but I didn't have one, so I'm using a sweet yellow, some fresh cilantro, a jalapeno, or any other pepper that you like. This was from my garden, and it's a little spicy kick, so I'm using this one. So it's basically chopping and putting everything in there and letting it sit so all the flavors meld together. You're going to be so surprised how easy this is. We're going to take our heirloom. I'm just going to top it because it's got some funky little things going on. It is from my garden. Then we're going to cut it in half. Everything out of the way here. And we're just going to simply slice it into teeny weeny little cubes, okay? Preferably you're using a very sharp knife, as I am, so you can cut through without damaging the tomato. There's one part of it. Just gonna stick it in my bowl here. We're gonna continue with the second one. And we're gonna try to make them pretty small, okay? And you wanna make sure, because the smaller bits will really cause it to become more like salsa because of the liquid that's in the tomato. There we go. And I find that heirloom tomatoes are much sweeter and more of a flavor with, you know, a tomato flavor, whereas you get your other ones like the Romas and things at the grocery store, and they are, you know, they're not quite as flavorful because they've been picked green, unfortunately. And so there you've got, okay, got all my tomatoes sliced and in my bowl. Then we're going to chop our pepper. And I like to seed my pepper. So I will just take a spoon and do this. I just think it's nicer not to have the seeds in your salsa. Now, if 1 or 2 is in there, it's okay. So let's just push everything out of the way there. And we're going to chop again this very fine, okay? Because you don't want to bite into a big piece of chili pepper. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way, oops, of your knife. And curl them under, because you do not want to chop your finger off. Okay, beautiful, nice and fine. Finely chopped, and we'll just put that in there. Okay, then we're gonna do some onion. I don't think I'll need my whole onion here. I think I'll only do a half an onion. That's when you know, like right now I'm not doing a full recipe. Usually I do you know, like 2 tomatoes and whatnot. So this time I'm just gonna do 1 tomato, because I'm not really needing a lot of salsa here. So I just decided to cut the recipe in half, but normally I would do 2. And we're gonna wanna, again, cut this dice very, very small. And I think that's plenty of onion for this amount of tomato. Just put that in there. And then we're gonna squeeze in some lime. And you can go according to taste. I kind of like the taste of fresh lime in my salsas. Right now I'm doing a half. And then we're gonna cut some fresh cilantro. And you wanna bunch it up the best you can. And then start chopping across. Make it into fine little pieces of cilantro. There you go. Stick that in there. I'm going to add some salt. Start with a smaller amount. Now you can put fresh garlic, which I think I will because my husband really likes garlic. I'm going to use my garlic press to squeeze that in there like that, because you don't want to bite into a big old piece of garlic. Okay, so now We're just going to mix this up, and I want to give it a taste. Enough salt. You gotta test to make sure you have enough salt in there. That's gonna be beautiful. Perfect amount of heat with my homegrown pepper. So I'm gonna just put a touch of ground pepper in there also. And I may add just a little bit more of lime. Perfectly up to you though, how much lime you want to put in there. But I feel like the lime really brightens it up and gives it a wonderful, wonderful citrusy flavor. So let's give this a taste. Perfect. We're gonna let that sit a couple hours. Boom, you're ready for chips and salsa or whatever you would like. So enjoy your salsa. Give me a thumbs up on Facebook telling me I love your food, Victoria.